SmackDown was a very, let's just say, interesting show, and I thought the show sucked. I thought it was a horrible show. It had a very interesting angle at the end, that's why I said it's interesting, but I thought the show was a piece of shit. I thought it was just a drag to watch. I don't know, there was something just I couldn't get into. In particular, the first hour was horrendous. The second hour was a little bit better. Wasn't too bad, but I thought the first hour sucked. They start with a recap of last week with the Swamp fight, actually 3 weeks ago, and of course Braun Strowman kidnapping Alexa Bliss at the end of SmackDown. And we have a Firefly 100% revealed that Braun took Alexa. The Fiend actually took Alexa, and we'll see her later tonight. And he wants a challenge to Braun Strowman. And I can't say I'm really looking forward to this match anymore. I'll get to the Strowman segment later, but it started off good. This was a good way to start the show with the Firefly Funhouse, but the Strowman segment sucked. Anyway, after that, you had Matt Riddle face Sheamus. Wow, hard to care about this. I like Matt Riddle, but man, having anyone wrestle Sheamus, two guys I can't get into are Sheamus and King Corbin. Anytime I see him on TV screen, I don't want to watch. Sheamus has done better. It's just he was so boring for so many years. He was on TV for so long. I just can't care. And King Corbin, I don't need to talk about him anymore. It is what it is. He's a tall guy. Vince likes him. We have to deal with it. At least he's not getting in the main event anymore like last year. So, Riddle wins match by DQ. Sheamus is furious at Shorty G for interfering, and he hits him with the bro kick. And then they make sure G look like a complete geek here, as they usually do. And I guess Shorty G faces... didn't they have Sheamus beat Shorty G at the Royal Rumble or something, if I can remember earlier this year? You had Michael Cole note the Fiend will be here tonight, and he teases a possible confrontation with Braun Strowman. He had Sheamus confront King Corbin in the back. He's talking to some chick, and... I actually have to watch Sheamus and Baron Corbin. That's like ultimate torture to me. It's like they don't want me to watch. You had the dirt sheet. They recapped Sonyville attacking Mania Rose. This is probably some of the worst stuff you'll see. They have Miz and Morrison introduce their guest, which is Mandy Rose's hair on the video screen. And this is just, it's to the point where Fox spends all this money. I'm sure I think to myself, what the fuck did we do? We're giving WWE all this money to have a fucking hair talking on fucking SmackDown. Worst fucking segment ever. God, this fucking sucked. Shit. Oh, I'm mad, man. This was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Trying to be honest here, that was horrible. You have Sonya Deville come out, and she's really good, but she's just, I don't know, I think she's just crazy too much now. I think she's going a little bit over the top, and she's doing a good job. I don't want to criticize her. She has improved a lot, and she's doing really good, but I do think she's over the top too much now. And they rip into Mandy forever, and of course Heavy Machinery comes out with Sonya and makes a run for it, and they have a brawl with Miz and Morrison that sets up a match later in the night. They recap Cesaro and Nakamura winning the titles. When they defeated the New Day in the tables match, you had Cesaro defeat Lindsay Dorado. Nakamura was a nothing here, just a nothing match. In the backstage, you had Kayla Braxton interview Heavy Machinery. Otis noted that Miz and Morrison could say whatever they want, but not his girlfriend, Mandy Rose. The Fiend makes his way to the ring next. We get him in the ring. We get the crazy Fiend entrance. We never see that besides on pay-per-views. You never get that on SmackDown, but he does it. He's standing in the ring. There's red lights, and then they go to commercial. We come back. We still see the Fiend there, and we see Alexa Bliss is in the ring, sitting on the mat like last week, wearing the exact same outfit. And all I thought was, they probably shot this right away. They probably did last week's angle and shot this back-to-back. They probably did the whole thing in one shot. They show Alexa in the exact same outfit she wore last week. She's sitting in the ring, and the Fiend walks around Alexa. Alexa's sitting in the middle, and he does the crawl walk, and he teases applying the mandible claw to Alexa Bliss, who is not scared. It looks like she's almost Stockholm Syndrome. That's what I think of. Like, a female gets attacked and she feels sympathy. That's what it is. She feels sympathy for the Fiend now. Alexa Bliss has been kidnapped. She has Stockholm Syndrome. I don't know if she's Swedish. I don't think so. Kaufman. That sounds probably German or something. The Fiend tries to put the mandible claw, but Bliss stops him, and she touched his face with her hand, and the Fiend starts to show emotion. The Fiend reacts, and he forces Alexa to stop him to touch his face. The Fiend is surprised, and then all of a sudden Braun Strowman appears on the screen, and he says he doesn't care about Alexa Bliss. What fucking stupid set! Oh, I hate when he said, like, what the fuck was that fucking ending for? What's the point of Alexa now? He had such a good ending on SmackDown. Like, he secretly loves Alexa, and the Fiend attacks the woman he loves. He secretly has a crush on her, and the Fiend attacked her. He took her away from her. Like, oh, that's such a good angle. He says he doesn't give a shit about Alexa. What the fuck? Why would anyone care about Braun Strowman? How could he not care about Alexa Bliss? Who doesn't care about Alexa Bliss? Even if you don't know Alexa Bliss, you care about Alexa Bliss. My God, what the fucking, he made him look like such a fucking asshole. No one cares about Braun Strowman. And he's supposed to be angry. He's still in the swamp, and he's now the most evil motherfucker around. That's almost what he's trying to say. He doesn't actually say that. It was a horrible segment. I thought Braun was awful. I hated it. I thought he started off good, but then just went too over the top. I went on for too long. He has to start yelling, and there's like almost drool coming from his nose. I had noticed that. Not a good sight. I hated the segment. I fucking hated it. Right when he says, I don't care about Alexa. What the fuck was the point of the segment then, huh? You don't care about Alexa. The whole thing was supposed to get heat. Well, he doesn't give a shit about her. Why does that mean anything now? What happened last week? It was such a stupid fucking thing to have him say. Oh, man, I just thought that was so fucking bad. Oh, apologize for the language, but that fucking annoyed me. Really, what the fuck? What the fuck was the angle for? He doesn't care. I don't give a damn about Alexa. What the fuck was the angle? Why would you put Alexa Bliss in that situation? You rarely ever have a man hit a woman. You got great heat, but Braun doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. Braun doesn't give a shit about Alexa. What the fuck was the point of the segment then? He doesn't give a shit. I mean, I guess Alexa's going to cost him the belt at SummerSlam, but I don't want to see Alexa relegated to the Fiend as Sister Abigail. I like seeing Alexa Bliss as her own character. I don't like to see her with the Fiend. I don't want to see that. Oh, man, I hope they don't do that. It looks like that's what they're going to do now, but it was so fucking dumb, that line. Anyway, God, I'm mad. I hated it. It ruined the whole week from the angle, the great angle from last week. It ruined in one fucking week. They do it every time. WWE is notorious for doing that. They'll do something where it's, oh God, this is awesome. They have a great angle, and then they'll just ruin it the next week. They're notorious for that over the last 10 years. This is another fucking example. They do this every single time. Every time. There's so many times they'll have an amazing storyline, great angle, and it's ruined the next week. I apologize for that rant, but fuck. Yeah, Jeff Hardy against King Corbin. Hardy wins. I'm going to skip this. I don't give a fuck about this match. It's Sheamus Rhino give Hardy a bro kick. Gives Jeff Hardy the win by DQ. So I guess it sort of gives Sheamus retribution for his feud with Jeff Hardy, which he never even mentioned. But the whole point was to cost King Corbin rather than to attack Jeff Hardy. So Corbin and Sheamus, I can't talk about this. This was just... I'm just skimming through this. You had Riddle interfere and Sheamus on with the bro kick. Oh my God, how the hell do I want to watch Matt? Why the hell would anyone want to watch Matt Riddle and King Corbin at SummerSlam? Anyway, we go backstage and we see Bayley with Sasha Banks. Have to give Sasha credit. I love the dress on Sasha. She looks great as always, but I really liked her dress tonight. But you had the two of them backstage. You discussed Bayley's match with Asuka on Raw. Bayley wished that Banks asked her first before volunteering her for the match, and Sasha reacts. And Sasha, I don't know. I get the feeling she's just not a very good actress, because some of her promos are just not that good. It feels like she's just acting too much. I don't know. It doesn't feel natural sometimes with her. But as Sasha and Bayley are arguing, you had an office worker approach them and inform them they need to go to the ring and have a conference call with Stephanie McMahon. And I immediately assumed Stephanie was going to strip Sasha of the belt because of what happened with Asuka, but that's not necessarily what happened. He had Caleb Braxton interview Big E in the back. He wants to know what's next for him, and he's ready to see what he can do in the singles competition. We'll see. Isn't Kofi going to come back sooner than later already from his injury? Next, you have the Bayley and Sasha conference call with Stephanie McMahon. Sasha and Bayley are in the ring, and then Stephanie appears on the screen. Stephanie praised Bayley and Sasha for winning all the belts. And then Sasha mentions Stephanie's daughters and said they're just finishing what they started. Stephanie says they found loopholes in her rulings. That's obvious. Banks and Bayley tried to apologize, but she's not mad. Stephanie then announces that she teases Bayley and Sasha would wrestle each other at SummerSlam, but it didn't happen. I guess WrestleMania. I think they're gonna hold it off till then. into the Performance Center. Right, you can hold it off into another Performance Center or something. But I think there's going to be at WrestleMania. But so it's Bayley and Asuka. I think Asuka's going to beat Bayley for sure on Raw. It sets up Sasha and Asuka at SummerSlam. And then next week, the winner, there's a triple threat battle royal for a Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and the winner gets a title shot against Bayley at SummerSlam. So it doesn't feel like the Raw and SmackDown titles match, because I think Sasha is still officially a SmackDown star, even though she's a Raw champ, and Bayley is going to face anyone from Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, so she could lose to Raw or NXT star, and if the SmackDown title goes to that brand, I guess. So, but that's what we get with the two of them. So Sasha, Asuka is obvious for SummerSlam, and Bayley will probably face, I'm not sure who it'll be. Kayla Brax interviews The Miz, John Morrison, and Sonya Deville. I made a mistake. That happened before. Why did I say that? Yeah, I made a mistake there. Actually, she did. She didn't want to talk to Sonya, but she talked to Miz and Morrison, and Sonya looks angry. So, main event, you have Heavy Machinery against The Miz and John Morrison with Sonya Deville. So, it was obvious what's going to happen. On the Mandy's coming out. Didn't care anything what happened in the match, because I was waiting for Mandy to come out, because I know it doesn't mean anything, because the whole thing's just for Mandy and Sonya. So Mandy Rose comes out and she has shorter hair. She always long hair. I guess Sonya cut off her extensions, I assume, last week. But it's still her hair's. She's Mandy Rose. She's still just as beautiful. Her hair's like a couple inches shorter with all the extensions. So she runs out and she attacks Sonya Deville. They have a brawl. Sonya gets to fight back against Mandy. They beat each other up. They're going after each other. They get a DQ, even though they weren't really hitting the men. So I don't know why you have to. They did it on Raw too this past week. I don't know why it's a DQ, but I guess it is officially a DQ. Match gets thrown out. It's a brawl alongside the ring. Heavy Machinery and Miz and Morrison try to break up the brawl. Refs try to break it, and they have a really good full match brawl. It's clear at SummerSlam. I'm guessing hair versus hair, but they didn't announce that, but I think so. I think Mandy definitely has to beat Sonya, because Sonya's gone the better of Mandy since their feud. I think Mandy has to beat Sonya at SummerSlam, probably in a hair versus hair match. In the back, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville continue to argue, or continue to yell at each other. All of a sudden, the lights go out. All the referees pause. Everything pauses. Then we go back. We see Michael Cole and Corey Graves freaking out at ringside. A bunch of guys and a woman, I think, in black masks and hoodies right on the bag. And Cole knows it's Retribution. That's what we saw in Raw. I guess I must have missed the segment. I didn't even know what was going on. But this new Retribution group, a bunch of guys, they're all 5'5" guys. It's so obvious it's Antifa. It's supposed to be a play on Antifa, because they feel like Antifa is they're terrorists, they're Marxist communist terrorists, and they terrorize people they don't agree with. They burn stuff, or they get away with it because the mayors are on their side. They're communists, so they're a terrorist group. And this is WWE's play on it. They're trying to get heat, and these are all like college kids. They're all like 5'5". Anyone can kick their ass, but kick their ass in a fight. But they have baseball bats and clubs and crowbars, so that's what makes them intimidating. They threaten everyone. They throw out the announcers. They beat up people, and they beat up a woman there in the stands who was watching it. They beat up a whole bunch of wrestlers in the stands. They destroy everything. They spray paint something on the glass. I think it was the Retribution. They destroy just everything. They tip over the announce booth, and then they take a chainsaw and they cut off the ring post with the chainsaw. So I guess people actually, I guess you can compare this to the Nexus, but nowhere near as the heat the Nexus had. That was actually 10 years ago. Oh, that's crazy. Time flies. Nexus was 10 years ago. Remember how awesome Nexus was? It was like the best angle. One of the best angles in their history. And then they killed it next week when they fired Daniel Bryan. I was just talking about that earlier. They'll do a great storyline one week and they'll just ruin it the next week. Nexus is a perfect example of that. That was definitely a botch. But this doesn't have the kind of hype Nexus was, so when this disappoints, it won't be as dramatic. But I guess we'll just get to see some good WWE wrestlers stand up for the company, stand up for the promotion, and beat the shit out of these little punks, this Retribution Antifa little bitches.